6-year-old woman, and if you'd asked me about my family 5 years ago, I'd have said we were close. We were close. We weren't perfect, but my parents always emphasized hard work, loyalty, and the importance of sticking together through thick and thin. They weren't rich, far from it, but they worked hard to give my younger brother and me a decent life. All of that changed when my parents inherited a fortune, and I mean life-changing money. What happened next destroyed my relationship with them, and honestly, I still can't believe it unfolded the way it did. We grew up in a small, blue-collar town. My dad worked in construction, and my mom did bookkeeping for local businesses. They always talked about how they were building something better for us. My brother Jake and I weren't spoiled, but we didn't go without. My parents taught me to save every penny I could and made sure I understood the value of hard work. Jake, who's 3 years younger than me, was the golden child growing up. Don't get me wrong, I love my brother, but he wasn't exactly the most responsible person. He dropped out of college after one semester, bounced between part-time jobs, and mostly lived with my parents into his mid-20s. They doted on him, always making excuses, saying he's just finding his way. Things changed for me after I graduated high school. I got a scholarship, moved out, and worked my way through college. I didn't ask for much help because I knew they didn't have the money. I'd visit home when I could, but I mostly kept my head down, working 2 jobs to pay for rent and groceries. It wasn't easy, but I was proud of what I accomplished. I thought my parents were too, at least. That's what they said. Then, out of nowhere, my parents inherited millions. They had a distant relative, someone we barely knew, who passed away and left them everything. Apparently, this relative had invested well and lived frugally, so by the time they passed, they had a fortune to pass on. My parents had always struggled financially, so this was completely out of the blue. We were all shocked, but at first I was happy for them. They finally had the stability they deserved, and I figured they'd use it wisely. That's not what happened. Almost overnight, their attitude changed. It started small. They stopped picking up my calls as often, and when I did visit, they'd make offhand comments like, "You're so independent now, you don't need us." I thought I was imagining things until one day, Jake showed up at my apartment driving a brand new luxury car. I didn't even know he'd gotten his driver's license back. He'd lost it a year ago after a DUI. When I asked about it, he shrugged and said, "Mom and Dad thought I needed it to get my life on track." It didn't stop there. Jake started posting pictures of lavish vacations on Instagram, Paris, the Maldives, Hawaii. Meanwhile, I was working overtime just to make rent on my tiny apartment. When I asked my parents about it, they'd dodge the question or say things like, "We're just helping him out for now." It felt like every time I visited them, Jake had something new, a fancy watch, a down payment on a condo, even a personal trainer. They started treating him like a prince while I got nothing but excuses and vague reassurances. The real kicker came when I found out they'd been holding family meetings about managing the estate and hadn't even told me. I only found out because I stopped by unannounced one afternoon and overheard them talking about it. When I asked why I wasn't included, my mom just said, "It's complicated," and my dad added, "It's not your business. You didn't earn this money." I was stunned. Not only was I being excluded, but they were acting like Jake had somehow earned his way into their favor, despite years of being unreliable and frankly entitled. The favoritism kept escalating.